what are some of your health fitness goals? Jeez, okay. That's a good, I want it, I want it. Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone feeling today? Good? Oh. So, as mentioned in my short bio, one of the things I like to do is help clients, really help them with mindset changes. A lot of times when people go into their health and fitness journey, they can make habit changes, but habit changes are temporary. I don't like temporary results. I don't want you to lose 20 pounds to put on 40. So we want to work on making that lifestyle, changing that mindset, so to help make those habits permanently. Now, I do want this very interactive. I don't want to just speak to speak. I want to make sure I'm speaking to you guys and I'm helping you. So for the next 30 minutes, I want to treat you guys like my lifestyle clients. That's okay?
Yes.
All right. Perfect. So if whoever's comfortable, what I really want to know are what are some of your health fitness goals, rather weight loss, build muscle, if there's certain lifestyle illnesses you're comfortable speaking on. What's some of the things you guys are working towards this year? Building muscle. Okay. Toning. Strength. When you say strength training, you mean just getting in the gym or becoming stronger?
Becoming stronger.
Okay. I think I saw someone's hand back there. Strength training as well. It was blood pressure, cholesterol. We have strength. We have cholesterol. And yours was toning.
Getting the BBL without the surgery. Brazilian.
That's a good goal to have. Not that if you do it, so just for the record, if that's what makes you happy and you get that surgery, do what makes you happy. But then at least go to the gym to try and balance yourself out a bit. It's weird when you got like skinny legs and then it's like a lollipop. Yeah. So just balance it out, and I think we'll all be good to go. I like these goals, so I'm gonna address these in a bit, but I do want to talk about why I love health so much. I don't care if you like or subscribe, but it's scientifically proven if you do, you'll be happier. So you just have to ask yourself, do you want to be happy? One of the reasons I love health is because how it parallels with so many different things. So whenever I talk, the one thing I want you to take away from this, other than knowing I want you to change your mindset, is how I define health. My definition of health is the constant process of being whole and balanced. Again, I love it because you're thinking mental health, financial health, spiritual health. You want to be whole and balanced. And I think, now I'm going to say some things that might not be popular, but it's my truth. When it comes to spirituality and health, there's a lot of parallels where I think just how if when you're in love, it seeps into so many different aspects of your life. I think for the church that talks about making sacrifices for the betterment of your future, it should follow into health. You know, when you look up certain verses and it talks about, above all things, I want you to be in good health. When it talks about your body is your temple, is my temple. How are you treating my body? I think one, if you're following these steps, it should then follow through to those normal lifestyles, and then even to a deeper, the church standard. In my opinion, the church is always at its best when it's relevant to society. When you look through history, when churches were at its peak, it was usually something in the community that's going on where the church can help. You're thinking of civil rights, you're thinking of certain riots, whatever the case may be, when the church is at its forefront. I think the church has a great opportunity now when you're looking at lifestyle conditions to be that forefront. Because again, you guys should be, if you are the front lines where now people can come to you for nutritionists, people can look at how you're living your life and how it then parallels into other things. That's another way for you guys to connect to the community. And I just always think, as a religious standpoint, that's very important. How can you guys keep connected to the community? If you're connected to the community, that means the community is connected to you. Now, one of the other things I love about health is, and we're going to talk about this, the healthier you are, the better your body operates. So when you hear people talk about certain things, they're going to say, if you want to build weight, if you want to build muscle, you got to do this, you got to take this, and you're going to bring down your cholesterol, you got to stop this and stop this. From my experience, once you focus on your health, once you focus on healing your body, giving it what it needs, you're going to see that it's all in one. Like, I don't separate health and fitness. They both work together hand in hand. And I do want to go through just some examples. But again, if I say anything where you guys need me to elaborate, if you have a question, please, by all means, ask the question. So someone said weight loss was one of the goals. And one of the things that's very prevalent nowadays is diabetes. So those are two fitness, lifestyle things, but they're both has one major factor that they have in common: insulin. Now, hopefully the healthcare system works pretty well, where you guys have good relationships with your doctors, with your nutritionists, with your dietitians. Anything we talk about, just know I'm just trying to really talk about mindset, but there are certain things I'm going to say, but always, anything we go through here, talk to your doctors about. But when you're thinking of the basics of what diabetes is and how it comes about, it comes through too much insulin in the body. You're doing something that's constantly spiking your blood sugars, constantly spiking your insulin, and over time, pre-diabetic diabetes happens. When you're thinking of, well, how do I help reverse it? How do I make sure I'm not in that place? You want to figure out what are some of the things you're doing that's spiking your blood sugar, that's spiking that insulin. Weight loss is very similar. A lot of people get too caught up in just thinking calories. I'm going to cut calories to lose weight, but you end up being nutrient deprived. You end up feeling bad, and there's nothing you can sustain for long. But one of the things insulin is important. We need it for a lot of things. But if you go back to my definition of health, being whole and balanced, is where too much insulin becomes a problem. Too much insulin can negate fat burning, can be a fat storing hormone. So the same thing that's helping to cause the diabetes happening is the same thing that's going to cause you to store body fat and negate fat burning. And the negate fat burning is a big portion, because sometimes what I've seen in my experience, people would do a spinning class or go to the gym and be like, man, I had a great workout. I deserve KFC. I deserve this cake. I deserve this bun and cheese because I've done so much work. But then you don't realize, because a lot of people just don't know how the body works, you having that can negate whatever you've done. And depending on where you are on your health spectrum, you can negate fat burning for up to 24 hours. So it doesn't matter what you did for the last few hours, what you plan to do for the next few, you can stop it. But a very, very important aspect of my approach to health is never preaching through fear. I don't like when people preach through fear in church. I don't like when people preach through fear with science. It's understanding.
Did you say fear?
Fear, yes, sorry. The more you just understand how the body works, then you have a better understanding. Okay, these are the things I want to be mindful of. These are the things I should take into consideration. So it's not, you thinking you have to eat clean all the time, but just understanding moderation isn't, again, a cake for breakfast and a salad for lunch. Depending on where you are, that might not work for you. But if you can focus on building this healthier lifestyle, and then every once in a while, once a week, moderation, you have something, that's going to be a much better just in your long-term quality of life. So when we're thinking of controlling your insulin, we want to know what a balanced meal is. And I've been doing this for over 10 years. And when I talk to people, they do not know what a balanced meal is. They think a balanced meal is peas and rice and chicken. When you're thinking, there's certain components I always think portion size is very, very important. What I like to focus on is more so just think of your hierarchy of food. What should be the first thing you're looking at when you go into your plate, then the next, then the next. When you're thinking of a balanced meal, that's going to help stop the blood sugar spikes. And then you'll notice it'll even help with your hunger as well. The less you're eating, that's the less calories you're taking in. The more you're controlling your hormones, the more you're controlling those blood sugars, you're controlling your insulin, which again, you're going to prevent certain things like diabetes from happening, and you're putting your body in a better place of weight loss. So I think when you're thinking of your hierarchy of food, and again, my opinion, first should be veg. The average person intakes about a cup and a half of veg a day. We should be getting closer to 5 to 7 servings of veg a day. So a day. And again, I've been doing this for. I'm so glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. No, no. I'm glad you said it. So what I like to think, again, we're thinking mindset shifts. When people say breakfast, lunch, and dinner, first understand that that's a marketing gimmick for you. Because now when you say breakfast, people think breakfast food, lunch food, whatever you had. Let's say you wanted just for example, spinach omelet. If you had it for your first meal or your last meal, do you think your body's like, well, wait, I can't have this because no, your body's looking for quality nutrients. So breaking those mindset shifts, and again, that is the hardest part. Whenever I talk to people about their journey, what I ask them to do isn't tough. It's you breaking that mindset of understanding breakfast doesn't mean donut. Breakfast doesn't mean pastry. Breakfast doesn't mean this. You are looking for nutrient dense meals. But again, should be common knowledge. And if the average person isn't getting in 5 to 7 servings, where are you getting those phytonutrients? Where are you getting your fiber? Where are you getting your potassium? Where are you getting your magnesium from? And even just think of the volume. If you had to eat 5 to 7 servings of veg, you have to stop eating less of other stuff because that's a lot of food. So again, now you've cut your calories, you've cut a lot of the processed foods you're probably eating, and you're actually giving your body what it needs. Better nutrients. Because again, yes.
You mentioned something earlier on as it relates to diabetes
Mhm.
and the spike in your blood sugar level.
Mhm.
Is I know that the body will tell you exactly what it's experiencing at times. How can we know, for example, that whatever we're consuming at a particular time is going to elevate our sugar levels?
So, great question. Anytime you eat, your body has to produce some amount of insulin because again, it needs it. It's how your body just operates. What I would always tell the person is, if you're just focusing on those balanced meals, which we'll get to in a sec, that's what I would want you to do before you feel those things, because our bodies are meant to survive. So sometimes there could be a long incubation period between you feeling the effects and your body actually going through harm. Cravings could be part of it, but cravings could come through rather stress. Cravings can come through lack of nutrients. But some of the telltale signs, if someone is having, we would just say low blood sugar, because what would happen, you would eat, let's say you ate, what's a popular dessert here? Cake. So let's say you ate cake. What it'll do is it'll spike your blood sugar. Then insulin needs to be produced because it doesn't want that high. So it brings it down low. But because it was such a large spike, so much insulin needs to be pumped out, but it brings it down too low. What the average person would feel was lethargic, tired, hungry. But then what do you go for? You go for another bag of chips. So you go for another meal. But then you hungry. Yep. But then it's just your body trying to say, it's your body, is your way of your body trying to say, my blood sugars are now dropped too low. I need something to kind of put it back normal. But the average person really usually goes for processed foods or carbs, but so you can spike it back up, feel good temporary food. And then you just end up going up and down and up and down. And that's really where the problem comes. So again, one of the things a lot of people, when they eat, is not because they're saying my body needs food, my body needs calories. It's because my blood sugars are just low. So one of the things, again, with my lifestyle clients is I just want them to eat when they're hungry. And if you're just eating when you're hungry and we're working on those balanced meals, without me having to tell them anything, because we're stabilizing their blood sugars, we're giving their body what it needs, they notice there can go longer periods without food. And if you're going longer periods without foods, that means you're keeping your insulin levels lower. which is yes, 5 to 7, 5 to 7, 5 to 7. So the best way to think of what a serving of veg is think like a loose handful. Like a loose handful would be like a serving of veg. So if you even had like a large salad, that'd probably be about 3 servings of veg there. Yeah, yeah. That would probably be it for the day. Yeah. Yes, no, not per meal. Yeah. So for the whole day, a nice rough guide is trying to get about between 5 to 7 servings of veg. Because again, there's just so much that your body needs every day. And if you just look at the cancers, look at the lifestyle illnesses, the rate how they're increasing, even though how much money we're putting into, trying to find it or diagnose it. And even now, look at how a lot of these lifestyle illnesses are now happening at younger and younger ages. So there's 2 main reasons because there's a few reasons. One, the environment. The worse the environment, the worse the soil, the worse the nutrients is actually in food. The technology. There's foods we have access to now we didn't have access to 50, 70 years ago. And then you have to think of and this is the important thing about health. Your health isn't going to affect you. It's going to affect your kids, their kids, their kids. There are certain genes that you pass on to your children to make them more susceptible. So whenever you hear someone say, diabetes runs in my family, one is because you all ate the same. If you change how you ate, you can change your outcome, but you're now more susceptible to it. And then you're literally passing on genes. If you're eating inflammatory foods all the time, there are certain genes that's going to trigger, okay, I should be inflamed because this is what my body's used to. And then if you're eating this way during pregnancy, during birth, you've now passed that gene on to the next child. They grow up eating worse because now we didn't have KFC. We didn't have all these processed foods. So now their kids pass it on. So that's one of the reasons you see. I mean, there's a lot of seniors here. Think of what your high school picture, what your primary school picture looked like. There probably wasn't a lot of overweight people. If you look at a lot of the high school pictures, primary school pictures now, there's a lot of overweight people. So a lot of that is just because of the access to the foods we have now, and then what's just been passed on generation to generation to generation. So I believe, oh yes, so balance plate. I think your focal point should be vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables just means non-starchy. I think the next thing you want to look at are your healthy fats. Now, again, I don't like preaching through fear, and fats is one of those things where there's a lot of fear being preached on, and it's hindering certain people from actually getting to where they want to be. Unfortunately, the amount of times I got to talk to my clients after going to their doctor's office because their doctor told them, don't eat eggs because eggs has cholesterol and is going to raise your cholesterol. Scientifically not true. And I don't like going against doctors, but doctors don't study nutrition. Doctors study medicine. So when they're speaking off of about 70-year-old dogma science, they did a survey study. It's like, okay, we got 10 people with high cholesterol, 7 of them eat eggs. Eggs must cause cholesterol. What I would want you to always focus on is the quality of the food. If you're eating quality food, quality eggs, quality, grass-fed food, that's not going to cause problems because, again, you need fats. You have something called essential fatty acids. This means certain things we can't produce inwardly. We have to get it through outside sources. You guys are women. A lot of your hormones are based on fats and cholesterol. So when you guys stop eating these fats because you're thinking you're doing the right thing, you might get these temporary results. Again, you might see temporary weight loss, temporary shifts, but it's not going to sustain long term, or you start feeling bad because, again, you're not giving your body what it needs. Your fat soluble vitamins, your A, your E, your D, your K. If you're not eating fats, how are you absorbing these things? If you're not getting these things, how are you whole? How are you balanced? If you're not whole, if you're not balanced, how can you expect your body to operate optimally? And by optimally, I don't mean just weight loss. I just mean, how do you feel day to day? How's your joints feeling? How are you able to move? How are you guys quick to be tempered? The side effects of health, which is why I think the focal point should be, is improved digestion, improved sleep, improved mood. These are the things I want you to look for. It doesn't make sense. Again, I tell all of my clients, if you lost 20 pounds with me, but you're still irritable all the time, something's wrong somewhere. You're hungry all the time. But a lot of that is because of probably what you're eating. If you
Mommy, go to sleep. You understand? I can't go to my home. I said, no, I'm not going to bed over break.
if you switched how you ate, that would affect how that is. Because even when you're thinking of weight loss, all body fat is not just insulation, is not just a cushion. Body fat, basic science, is stored energy. So you have to ask yourself, what's stopping me from accessing this energy? Usually it's too much calories, or usually it's a lot of hormones that you're producing that's causing those fat storing hormones. So if these hormones are elevated, it won't access your stored body fat, because you can run off your body fat for a while. So if you make these changes, one of the things that I know we're going in the right direction is you can go longer without having to eat, because now your body knows how to access that stored body fat for fuel. Yeah?
I do go longer without eating 20 times so much maybe too long. I think that's not good either.
Always revert back to our new definition of health. If you're not giving your body what it needs, you're going to come into problems. So even, there's some people that eat 5 times a day. There's some people that eat 2 times a day. If you're not giving your body what it needs, you're going to run into problems. If you are not whole and balanced, you're going to run into problems. So don't get too caught up into how much meals you're intaking. What nutrients did you get that your body needs? If you didn't get it, you can run into problems. So yes, back to the. Oh, sorry.
We don't know. I don't know. I don't think we eat vegetarian because that's everything. I don't think we do that.
So
Jamaicans just eat one little bit. Yeah, one little bit of vegetarian. What I found out, and the carbohydrate is the most.
and that goes to that mindset shift that you have to make. We've been programmed to do things for a long time. Now, I'm going to speak just more from Bermudian mindset, but we grew up a lot on carbs too, because carbs were cheaper. It's more expensive to get vegetables. So, and there's clients I had that psychologically they thought, oh, I need carbs to be full, because again, that's what we filled up on. So sometimes you have to go through that experience to then see, okay, I didn't need all of these carbs to be full. This is just what I chose to bulk up on. But just like with anything else, again, looking at that parallel between physical health, spirituality, a lot of people had certain lifestyles before they came into the church. Where is that going to lead you? You have two options. You can rather choose to stick with this lifestyle. When you get to that place where your joints ache, you're overweight, you have this condition, that condition, that condition, or you make the sacrifice and start changing your lifestyle. So you're in a better place. You're investing in that future version of you. So then when you look back, because of those sacrifices, you're now in a better place. And then you can start teaching that same thing to the next generation. Because again, it's just going to be worse. There's going to be at some point in time, who knows when they're going to finally make that magic pill that cures everything. But until then, how much people died because they didn't want to change their lifestyle? How much people now have a lower quality of life because they didn't want to change their lifestyle? I want you guys not just to live, not just to exist, but to thrive. I want you to know, just because you're 40, 50, 60 doesn't mean you have to slow down, doesn't mean you have to put on weight, doesn't mean you have to be on 5 different medications, because again, we're programmed to think that. If you look up certain studies, once the average right now is once you hit 60, most people are on at least 4 different medications. That shouldn't be normalized, but for a lot of people it is. They think, oh, I'm managing. The one thing I would hear is I'm managing my symptoms because they're on medication. That to me, that's not managing your symptoms, especially if what happens a lot in society is a lot of people just look at, oh, thank you. A lot of people just look at symptoms. So you're overweight, I'm going to treat something for you because you're overweight. You got diabetes, I'm going to give you something for diabetes. You have hypertension, I'm going to give you something for your hypertension. But the root to all of those comes from the lifestyle. So you can think you're treating this one thing and you can think you're managing it, but because you never dealt with the root problem, another branch is going to spring out eventually where now you got to treat this other thing. And those are just the things you can feel. You don't know what's going on in the inside. But this is where it's a tough balance, but this is where I have to understand where the doctors are coming from. The doctor's job is trying to keep you alive as long as possible. The only thing they know is, again, what they study, meds. That's their job. But what we've tend to do is like, okay, I've gotten something that can extend my life. I'm just going to let this do the work instead of making those lifestyle changes. Even if you're on medication, I'm not saying don't take your medication. I'm not saying doctors are bad. I'm saying is let them give you the meds to help extend your life, and then you should be doing the lifestyle part because then the meds are going to work better, and then you'll be able to rather decrease or come off those medications because now you focus on the root problem, the lifestyle. Make sense? Yeah. So back to the balance plate. We've got veg, we've got healthy fats. So again, with fats, do not fear fats. Look for high quality food. That's what you're thinking about. Healthy fats, for example, avocado. When you're thinking of your meats, I would always say the wild salmon, the grass-fed red meats, grass-fed lamb. Even with butters, I would always say a grass-fed butter, a ghee butter. Your nuts, almonds, pistachio, almonds, pistachio, macadamia nuts, your oils, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. Like there's a lot of different ackee. Thank you for reminding me. Ackee is not a bad fat. With anything, you just want to go portion size, moderation. Know what a portion size is. Know what your moderation is, and you are not going to have any problems with ackee.
How do you determine your portion size? Is it by height, weight?
That so generally, the general serving size of fats is usually about 15 grams of fat, and that's where you get into portion size and knowing how to rather look at something or weigh food out so you know what it looks like. Because when it comes for portion sizing, they have like hand guides you can use too. But the importance with portion sizing is like if you ask someone, show me a portion size of rice, it's probably going to be about 3-4 times the actual portion size of rice. So again, what is our definition of health? Being whole, being balanced. Now, even when it comes to it being too much work, what I would challenge your mindset, are you not worth it?
Yes.
You are worth it. And it's not, you gotta walk around with a food scale for the rest of your life. But if you can just identify, and there's many different ways people can identify like how much fats in certain guides.
I think it's really true. If you eat the vegetables before you eat the meal, you definitely eat less, especially rice.
Because even this goes back to mindset. Most people think veg is a side dish. So you'll say, I want my chicken, I want my this, and I'll have some. If you went into it thinking, all right, what veg am I having? And then having it around there again, it's just that mindset shift because you've been around for decades just thinking one way. I don't know. Oh, okay. Mm. And they're generally more active too. like just thinking walking around and stuff like that, bicycling. Like they've got a very active lifestyle. But again, it just takes some sacrifice for your greater good. So yes, roughly about 15 grams. That'll look different for different things. Like if you're thinking of most oils would be like a tablespoon would be a serving size. Avocado would be like half an avocado. When you're thinking of most meats, the easiest way for the average hand, just think of like the palm of your hand. This is where it just comes down to doing the best you can. If let's say there's not wild salmon, if the best you can is a farm salmon, if that's the best you have access to, if that's the best you can do the best you can. Yes, we're gonna get to that too, because I can guarantee you, farm salmon will be better than fried food from somewhere else. So it's always just about the best you can. 60 too late? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The thing about, let's say you wanted to really revamp at 60, you have to remember you got to put your body through a healing process now. Is you spend years literally damaging your body, so you need that healing process. When you're thinking of older women, when you're thinking of premenopausal, going into menopause, those are one of the big trigger topics right now. The healthier you are going into it, the better your body would handle it. Not saying you're not going to have any symptoms, but a healthier body is going to go into it better than a unhealthy body. And then you have to remember, okay, I'm in this now. I need to now start making these adjustments. So it might take longer for your body to start healing, for your body to learn, okay, I'm finally getting the nutrients it wants. But I've had people start in their 60s. I've had some of my PT clients started in their 70s and just being active and lifting weights, and they're seeing tremendous difference in their mobility, in their energy. So it's definitely never, I would never say it's too late to start, but I would always just want you to start as soon as possible. Yeah. Were there any other questions on this side? I don't think so. Okay. So again, back to balanced plate. We got veg, we got healthy fats. Did I answer your question? Okay.
Gut health? Are you
I'm sorry, say it again.
gut health?
We'll get to that. We can get to that for sure. We're thinking of your quality proteins and then carbs. So in my hierarchy of food, carbs is the least important. Again, not fearing carbs, just understanding they shouldn't be the dominant thing. They don't need to be the dominant thing. And that's where, again, portion sizing comes in. Once you're adding in all of these other factors, you would see you don't need the carbs that you think you need, because now your body has dietary fats, and most importantly, it learns how to run off of your body fat. Yeah. So that was just one example, just showing you how you want to lose weight, you want to prevent diabetes. Same thing. Uh, Another example, another correlation I want to show you. We had talked about cholesterol. Oh, I think the same person wanted to build muscle as well. Now, when it comes to that, you're thinking about your inflammation. Now, whenever you're talking about high cholesterol, a lot of focus gets put into, again, fearing cholesterol. Your body produces 90% of your cholesterol is built internally. What I would want you to focus on, instead of fearing eggs and steak, what are you eating that's inflaming your body? Again, the deep fried foods, the eating out often, all of these other things. These are inflaming the body, and that has a direct correlation with high cholesterol. Even when you're thinking of building muscle, you controlling your inflammation is very, very important. If you're in the gym and you're trying to inflammation, yes. Inflammation, yes. When you're in the gym and you're trying to work out, you're trying to build that muscle, that's an acute inflammatory response. Inflammation is not a bad thing. Again, we'll go back to our definition of health. We just need it to be balanced. We need some inflammation to start the healing process, but it's that prolonged inflammation which causes problems. It was cause problems with the cholesterol. And when you're in the gym, you work out, you want that acute inflammatory response, but then you need that anti-inflammatories to help calm the body down so your muscles can recover. Your results happen during your recovery. So if you are always inflaming your body, say that one more time. Lactose intolerant. Oh, that would have an effect with more like your gut health, certain genes, certain your immune system that can come. So it can be someone's inflammatory response. So sometimes people just have different responses to it. But when you're thinking of things, great question, by the way. When you're thinking of things that causes inflammation, again, it'll be certain people. Sometimes it's grains could do it for some people. Cheese could do it with other people. But again, I want you to think of, for the average person, the stuff that happens to them every day. When you're thinking of gut health, one of the best things you could do for your gut health is controlling that inflammation. But if you are constantly eating certain foods that's inflaming the body, you don't give your gut a chance to heal. So again, the other benefit of focusing on not eating all the time and letting your body rest, you're letting your gut rest, you're letting your gut heal, which can improve your gut health. When you're thinking of another big one, stress. Stress is something we all go through every day. One of the signs of a healthy body is that it's able to handle stress better. But when you're not getting in your sleep, that is a big indicator that you're not, because that when you're thinking of when you're doing most of your fat burning, when you're doing most of your muscle building, is during deep sleep. So when you guys are staying up to like 2 a.m. to wake up at 6 a.m., that is when your body does the majority, the biggest amount of your muscle building and fat burning is during deep sleep.
So you exercise that crazy in the morning, and then you ought to, because I exercise at 4.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes
Why?
so that's not. I know it's not, but then I don't feel sleepy or.
So a lot of that would be,
I do whatever I do.
you would have to look at your sleep ritual. Sometimes people don't feel sleepy because they're staring at a screen, and the screen will mess up how your body perceives night, your circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
It can throw that off. If you're someone who is stressed, that again can mess up your circadian rhythm. So when your body thinks it should be asleep, you're wide awake, and when your body thinks you should be wide awake, you want to be asleep. So a lot of that depends on your person. But if you're up late at night looking at a screen, that'll be one reason your body would not cue off to get to sleep. And then if you're not getting that deep sleep, that will have a direct effect on the way your body is able to recover. And beyond just what you're doing at the gym, just the stresses from that day, everything you had to go through, the toxins, the crazy boss, the crazy coworker, the kids, all of that. If you're not giving that body heal, if you're not giving a chance for that body to heal, you would just constantly keep in stress. So the way you eat stressing you, your life is stressing you, your sleep patterns are stressing you. These would have a direct effect on how your body is able to function. If you're thinking of weight loss, if you're thinking of how it can accelerate certain things like diabetes, like hypertension, and your muscle gains as well. So if you're someone who's in the gym, it doesn't matter what time you wake up. Again, when you're in the gym, you're just trying to create a response to stimulate muscle growth. You do not build or lose any weight in the gym. None. I don't care how hard you work. I don't care how long you're in there. Oh, when you're in the gym, you do not build or lose any weight in the gym. None. Zip. Nothing. It's everything you're doing after that time. And again, if you're not getting in that deep sleep, that's going to have a direct effect.
And you said
deep sleep, not a nap. The average person should always try to be aimed for that 7 to 8 hours. And what do babies do? They grow. If you are trying to grow, you need that sleep. Unfortunately, my fiance, sir, she could tell you, I sleep a lot. I'm trying to grow. But especially with sleep, well, stress in general, like people really underestimate what stress does to their body, but you need to understand how you're stressing yourselves. But sleep is a major one. Like you're literally shortening your lifespan by not getting that sleep. I want you to. I don't even know what. So that's a good goal. What I would tell a lifestyle client, don't put a time on it. What I would want you to do, just turn your phone off. Start with that. Just put it away from you. Don't look at it. Turn the TV off, and then start building that lifestyle. Because what you said was beautiful. Because it's something that happens a lot where people go into something with the right intentions, but if you don't fully understand it, is why people never make it. The young lady there. Oh, wrap up. Okay. Uh, uh, in closing, in closing, um, what happens is that young lady there had talked about toning, but people don't know what toning means. All toning means is a reduction of body fat. But I've literally had clients or people I've spoken to that thought they can mold their body like it's made out of clay. And they've literally start losing weight or size and they'll try and change it and they'll eat ice cream or something. So same thing for sleep, same thing for weight loss. Don't go into weight loss saying, okay, I just got to lose 10, 20 pounds. I would say work on those mindset habits, work on that mindset shift, make those small goals, and then start building on that. Master one goal. So we leave her today. Master, can I get a serving of veg in each meal? That's it. Just can I reprogram my brain? Can I get a serving of veg with each meal? Figure out what veg I like, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Okay, can I slowly increase the veg of each meal? And how do I feel? All right, I'm starting to notice my hunger is different. Okay, maybe this man knows what he's talking about. Can I add a healthy fat with each meal? Do I make sure I'm having quality protein with each meal? Go through those small steps, understanding it has to be a mindset shift, and then see how your body feels and see where it could take you. Yes. Both are fine. That gets into a conversation of eating healthy versus eating right. Both are nutrient dense. You can get a lot of benefits from both. What I've seen some people do is they might have these large fruit smoothies, not understanding fruit still carries some carbs. Not to be feared, but you just have to understand if you're intaking 300 carbs and they're through fruit, you're still intaking 300 carbs. So that's one of the reasons I would always say focus on veg first, because it'll be nutrient dense, but very, very low in carbs, very, very low in calories. But then still have your fruit. But again, that's more try and portion size it out versus it being a dominant thing. And then it just depends on your goals and how your body works. You might be able to handle a fruit smoothie once everything else is in order for the rest of the day, and you'll be fine. So everything's always individualized to you. Test it, see what happens. If it doesn't get the right result, okay, it might be a little bit too much in something else. But that'll be the main difference. Both nutrient dense. One would just be higher in carbs. One would be lower. Any questions? Yes. Did you say, did I have to? I like how you said quick question too. Why do you, just so I know, why do you have to?
So that's a habit
Okay.
you need to break.
So what I would say, if you as a lifestyle client, because it's very important you understand you have your own autonomy. Like it doesn't make sense me telling you what to do if you're just going to go do the opposite. I would say if you want to start having it, work on those balanced meals and then just have it with the meal, because you'll probably eat less of it if you're having it with the meal. And then maybe in time you'll learn to see, okay, I'm doing all of these other things. I don't need it. And then it might trickle off by itself. So I'm not going to put a time. I would just say work on those steps, have your cake with the meal, and then see where it takes you. Yes. Man, you okay? I've been given the wrap up sign. It's only because I've heard. Unfortunately, oh, one sec. Raise your hand if you all have YouTube. YouTube. I'm gonna answer that a little deeper. I want you all to take out your phones now for me, please. I want you to look up IFBB Pro BB Pro space HAFID space James. IFBB Pro space HAFID space James. Does everyone see it? It's come up for everybody? Is that me? That's me. Yeah, there you go. So, yes. So give that a quick subscription. Subscribe to that. Like, follow, subscribe. Space HAFID space James. So subscribe to that because there's a lot I can see we'll have to get through. In closing, before I get kicked out, the myth about drinking red wine before you go to sleep, there's unfortunately a lot of myths you guys believe. And one of the things I like to do on my page is go through those myths and just tell you the science behind it. Drinking red wine before you go to sleep might help you go to sleep faster, but it's actually been shown to decrease the quality of your deep sleep. So when it comes to drinking alcohol, just like with what we talked about with the cake, do the best you can. I would say less is better. Just find a way that you can think, okay, if I drink this much in a week, how can I slowly decrease? Because alcohol, you're thinking of what you're doing to your liver. Your liver is going to have a direct effect on how your body handles toxins, how your body handles your thyroid. So I would always say the least amount you can drink. But there's a lot of, we live in a time where there's just too much information out there. And I'm sure you guys think, people's different, and you got to think of it. You would have to study them, and again, there's other factors involved. So just like if anything, you have plus and minuses. Like they might drink that, but they also focus on a lot of whole foods. They're also doing a lot of walking. So do they have a net negative or a net positive? So that's really what we're looking for in just life in general. Like no one's going to be perfect, but what's your net negative? What's your net positive? We usually do a Q&A often where you can ask any questions and I can answer them in detail for you guys. I think we're doing one soon. So by all means, ask away. I want to give you guys the truth, the way I see it, and hopefully help you in your journey. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And check out some of the other videos on the page. And until next time, be happy, be healthy.